with a huge chip on his shoulder as he holds up that single solitary finger, looking to drop something incredibly impressive and get that loss out of his mind, even though it was the first race of the season. As we speak over Chariot, the silver medalist from Tokyo and world champion in 2019.
And another Norwegian to get introduced here is Narve Nordash, the 25-year-old who was the bronze medalist in a bit of surprise in Budapest a year ago. Stewie McSwain, a lot of these athletes, a number of them coming over like Ingebrigtsen from Eugene, who have just raced at that mile and now stepped the line here at a slightly shorter distance of 1,500 meters. But all eyes will be on the 23-year-old from Norway, Ingebrigtsen, who's asked for a pretty spicy pace here as his brother watches on and the crowd engaged to the very end. You can see some of those ponchos now out as the weather kind of turned a little bit rainy here in the latter stages of the event, but not going to go home without seeing the reigning Olympic champion in that defined distance that he won in Tokyo just 3 years ago.
You see Jakob just hanging out in lane 2, staying out of the fray, biding his time, waiting for the right moment to slide into the rail. He doesn't want to expend too much energy, have to keep a lookout over his shoulder as to not get boxed in, but sitting on the rail, nice position, going to settle in front of the home crowd.
So 3 laps to go. You see the target time at 3:29. The world lead right now is 3:31.96 by Reynold Chariot. And as we get him through the first 400 meters, I don't care if you're a 1,500 meter guy or if you're a world top flight decathlon athlete, going from one continent to another, what is the challenge in turning around and being ready to run fast again?
Not thinking about it at all, just focusing on the task at hand. If you're worried about whether you're recovered or not, you're probably not recovered. But you're just looking forward to this competition. I'm sure he's just been looking forward to this gun and this race as soon as he crossed the finish line in Eugene last weekend.
And the crowd continues to lift up these athletes as well, and that energy certainly feeding the legs of Ingebrigtsen now as he's going to have 800 meters to run. Those are 2 pace setters out in front, Kiprgut and Rudolph, so not planning to stay in the race. And then behind Ingebrigtsen is Chariot, who was second behind Ingebrigtsen in Tokyo, himself a world champion. That classic running style with a little bit of a lean in front of him as they head down the backstretch. Rudolph looking around, but Ingebrigtsen leading the field there. As Ali Hoare getting in the mix as well back there, about 5th position overall. Lap and a half to go.
The pace setters did a fantastic job pulling him through 800 meters there. Let's see if they can stay up. Ingebrigtsen nipping at his heels right now, trying to get through 1K as cleanly as he can. As you mentioned, there's Timmy Chariot, that long loping stride, trying to stay in contact with Jakob as we head into the final lap.
Azzedine Habj of France has now moved up into the top 3. He's coming off a great performance, winning in Marrakesh a couple of stops ago. Elliot Giles of Great Britain there in 4th. But Ingebrigtsen with the lead as they head down the backstretch for the final time.
Chariot moving on to his right shoulder. Jakob's had a nice, smooth acceleration. There hasn't been a lot of moves. It's been steady Eddie pace. As they move in with 150 to go, it looks like Jakob has the strength. Can he finish?
Into the home stretch. That is Nader of Portugal actually in 3rd. Chariot in 2nd. go into the arms, trying to close the gap on Ingebrigtsen, and a dive at the line for the Norwegian. Will it be enough to take the victory? That is a hard way to stop and end a 1,500-meter race, as Chariot was showing all kinds of momentum there in the final strides, but it is going to be Ingebrigtsen on the dive, taking the win here as he celebrates with the crowd to end the night in Oslo.
Tell me this race mattered to him without telling me this race mattered to him. Getting back into the win column, gutting it out to the very, very end. And very rarely will you see Jakob Ingebrigtsen act like that after a race, all in good spirits. What a race, what a grind to the finish. Tim Chariot, a champion in his own right, going toe-to-toe with the hometown hero, almost edging him out, was so patient, waited until the last moments to try to make the move and pass. But these are two men, two of the best to have ever run at this distance. As we watch this final 100 meters, and Tim Chariot just running out of real estate. Jakob stays tucked into the rail. Chariot moves out just to the outside, and I thought he actually had it. I thought Chariot might have gotten him right at the very end, but it was that complete and full send of Jakob. You don't see that in many races above 400 meters where athletes are moving that fast and diving across the line, collecting some of that track rash. He's probably happy that the track's a little bit wet, otherwise it would have been a lot worse for wear. But fantastic seeing him in such good spirits, getting that competitive edge back.
Yeah, the mascot here is a strawberry. You might have a raspberry to show for that effort in the final dive. But, you know, that's what the fans came to see, was a competitive race. And there is a look at the dive as Ingebrigtsen maybe gets some extra points for artistic merit on that dive and sends a message back to Josh Kerr as that head-to-head battle looming large in one of the major storylines on the road to Paris here in 2024.